Alright, everyone. It's me, Jupy, and welcome to the Friday special. We're playing more of the devil. And yeah. I hope you're doing good. I am vibing since yesterday. And yeah, I am so excited to continue into the game. Yeah, also, if you're not aware, I started putting content warnings because this game is gonna start getting, a little wild, and I want to, preempt potential, potential, like, people being triggered for things, so, yeah. Also, I forgot to change the thing. Let me change that while I am sure that Lucifer is gonna raid me. Yeah, she is raiding me. Hi, gang. Hi, everyone. I forgot to change my stream info. Let me change that right now. 54XX. Oh, no. Oh, I hope you're doing. I hope it was still good. Perfectly adequate. Yeah, that's totally fine. I'll be right back. I'm just changing the stream info. Also, love, I love that you helped me last time, but you completely forgot the the commands in title. So I have to re-put them. Why is yeah. But yeah, welcome everyone. I hope you enjoyed your time with Lucifer. I'm GP, also known as Cute Fangies, and I do speedruns, but also I do I play video games sometimes. They say, and I play off the devil sometimes. But yeah, today we're gonna be continuing the episode 1 that I started last time. We got to the point where we finally met with a new character who is also the deaf gift of our main protagonist, Morgan's friend, and former like high stakes the doctor person type thing. Yeah. So if you're interested, videos about of the devil are coming up every week on the YouTube channel. You can find the link in chat or type !socials for finding my link to the YouTube. Also just find Cute Fangies on YouTube. Easy to find. But yeah, today we're gonna continue, and I'm really excited. As a note, I mentioned it earlier, but we're doing content warnings now. So if you are not interested, like if you are fearing that you might get triggered by it or anything like that, do not worry. Just look at the content warnings, and if you do not want to watch, that's totally fair. Your safety is more important than my, than my ego. In any case, let's continue on the high roller mode. Also, if you're asking if Larry is doing good, he is doing good. Are you sure about this? You have questions too, don't you? Right now, I'm just a little better equipped to get answers than you are. Okay, go for it. I'll make sure they're watching. Is the air quality at Noble headquarters kept up to state standards? What's that? All these Noble employees seems to have asthma. Was father also working under such poor conditions? They don't have asthma. Then why are they all carrying inhalers? First legalized in 2083, the stimulant sold under the name Adroxone has since become one of the most widely used drugs in the corporate world. Oh, this is the cocaine. As a Class 2 stimulant of least concern, employees of any corporation in good standing with the Bureau of Narcotics Oversight can have access to Adroxone without a prescription, so long as their HR representative feels it would be beneficial to their work performance. Workplace Adroxone, as it is sometimes called, is dispensed through biomonitor enhanced inhalers that automatically detect overdoses and keep track of possible habit formation. Automatic safety levels may be adjusted at supervisor's discretion. Unsubstantiated claims that Adroxone was first invented as a purely recreational drug by the notoriously violent Skullhead Mafia caused enough of a stir that in 2083 a formal investigative committee was formed. Unfortunately, in 2084, an industrial hydrogen fuel accident resulted in the death of all 391 known Skullhead members, placing the investigation at an indefinite standstill. Accident? Accident. I'm not sure it was an accident, sir, but let's leave it at that right now. Yes, ma'am. She's right over here. Oh no, she's back. Oh, it's you. Oh, it's you. Did I mess up? On the contrary. Eyes wide. She's a DA. Quiet. She succeeded spectacularly in getting Noble's ears perked up. Emma Rockford! Didn't think I'd run into you here. Yeah, didn't think I'd be here either. But the powers that be think my presence sends a strong message to the Mex, so... No, wait, what are you doing here? Few minutes later. I see. I'm so sorry for your loss. Game's a little loud. Some of the beats. Thank you for saying that. And thank you, Detective Reyes, for your many kind words. We can't all be as talkative as you. Normally, quoting poetry would feel pretentious, but you were so genuine in your reading. Bite me. I don't know if there's a need for all of that. Very mature, Detective. Did you come up with that yourself? Oh, no, that's Kaguya's signature pose. Like the popster? I don't know what you're talking about. You can admit it if you do. Well, there's nothing to admit, because I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. Well, now you're saying you don't know who Kaguya is. She's the most famous. Yeah, well, I just don't know who that is, so... Ma'am? Weren't you about to say something? Oh, well, I'm still surprised to see you here now, Morgan. Are you helping plan the services? Actually, the company will be planning Dr. Asher's funeral service. When his family want to take care of that? No. No? No. I see. It's alright. But if that's the case, why are you here, Morgan? Oh gosh, I'm so sorry to disturb your morning. Hey, you're here for the same reason as every other suit that got crawling around. Money. You're not wrong. There are a lot of annoying insects with annoying agendas scurrying around before my friend's body is even cold. But the honest truth is I don't even know if David had a will. The company helped him manage his estate. Legal is probably already on it. Actually, judging by how much coffee that intern is carrying into the elevator, I'm certain they are. Right, so if you're not here for the funeral or the reading of the will... Miss Starling asked me to come here, actually, on a matter unrelated to David's passing. An unrelated matter. That's convenient, isn't it? But now that I'm here, it's come to my attention that the police have made a determination in the case of David's death. And where did you hear that? Am I mistaken? No, you're right. They concluded that it was suicide. You can always count on her to be blunt. I was worried about that. Yeah, I'm sure you must be feeling... Because I'm going to have to contest that charge. What? The state has made a charge. I'm arguing against it. The hell are you talking about? The police believe David committed suicide. Suicide is a felony in this country, detective. It is technically a crime to commit suicide, yes, but we're not in the habit of bringing dead men to trial. Especially not for their own murder, Morgan. No, not to trial, of course not. But there would be a preliminary hearing in a case like this. Also, I didn't look Kaguya. Kaguya is the stage name of a singer-songwriter known for a powerful voice and her stage persona intricately crafted lore. After releasing a blitz of chart-topping singles, a quadruple platinum album, and a bevy of cultural reset music videos in just the last 3 years. Wow, okay. She has come to be considered the leading living figure in the pop music and popular culture realm. Kaguya's official age is listed as 1,086 years old. She released her first single, Orbit, in 2083, which went on to peak at number 1 on the Billboard Top 100, the Rubicon Digital Singles Charts, and the NI8 music video streaming tracker, making one of the fastest-selling singles in history. Personal details on the pop star remain scarce, and protecting her anonymity has become a core part of her fan culture. When a retired facial analysis expert proclaimed that her stage makeup was formulated specifically to make facial recognition on her impossible, a representative for her record company met with the press to clarify that she is simply a private person who wants her fans to enjoy the experience that is Kaguya's voice. Users also frequently search for Kaguya Lord explained, Kaguya Iceberg explained, Kaguya Lunatropic store tickets where to buy. Yeah, it happens. The preliminary hearing is a step in a criminal court process in which a judge or jury will evaluate whether there exists sufficient evidence . By the way, Lucifer, tell me if the audio is good, because I've been having moments where the game audio is like way too loud and sometimes where it's like way too low. I'm trying to fiddle with that right now. Between security systems, personal devices, biomonitors, IoT crumbs, automated dependents, and mods, it is extremely rare in modern times for the people's evidence of a crime to be found lacking, making preliminary hearing somewhat of a formality that is frequently sidestepped without protest from the defense. Technically, as a formality, assuming the courts aren't busy that day, I'm afraid that on this occasion. My levels seem fine? Okay. It's just, you know, I told you earlier, like before, that audio levels sometimes are weird. I'm afraid that on this occasion, I'm going to have to insist on formality. Yeah, well, you don't really have much to say in the matter, do you? With David gone, I have the only say, really. I am, after all, his criminal attorney. All that money and he needs his drinking buddy to be his attorney? Bullshit. I'm also skeptical, Morgan. It's a pretty serious conflict of interest to be your friend's defense attorney. You're absolutely right. It is a conflict of interest. And I would have said as much to him if I had the chance. What do you mean? I only found out that he wanted me to be his attorney today. After he died? How the hell did you miss that memo? Embarrassing, isn't it? But to be fair, it was hidden pretty well. Oh, they're showing Sarah as the proof. Oh, I didn't know you had an Android, Morgan. It's cute. Thanks, but it's actually David's. I'm technically my witness. Witness to what? 38 hours ago, that is, David Asher communicated to me as a matter of accord the following explicit legal intent. In the case of any and all criminal charges brought against him by the state, his attorney would be Evangeline Morgan. Evangeline? But, I mean... No, wait, seriously, your name is Evangeline? Did your parents name after your Christmas Carol? Should we all be curtsying? It's not that funny. No, of course not. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Evangeline. Why do your friends call you Angel? I heard Kaguya's on tour, detective. Should I get you tickets? You could have your dad drive you, like the other 15-year-old. Oh. We're being violent with words today. Hey. Feels like we're getting off topic, but we were just... I was telling you that David Asher wanted her to be his criminal defense attorney. Imagine my surprise. An android's recording of a verbal expression of intent isn't exactly ironclad, Morgan. Let's not bully Eve about her name now. No, Eve's name is great. That's fair. And if we were going to before an upper level court, I would expect that to be open to all kinds of scrutiny. But we were talking about a preliminary hearing. A formality, as you called it. If he asks for representation, he deserves representation. Doesn't matter whether he's dead or alive. Am I missing something? What difference does it make? Not even an adjutant would be obtuse enough to sentence a dead man. No, there won't be a sentence, but the adjutant will render a verdict, and verdicts have consequences, even for the deceased. Is that what this is about? What she's getting at? If the court agrees that this was a suicide, that verdict will retroactively affect evaluations of the individual's mental health. Like, whether he was in his right mind or not. You know anything about estate tax law, detective? No. But I'm sure you'll be happy to educate me. More than happy. An individual found by a court to not be of sound mind cannot very well give their consent to the lawyer drawing up their will. If his will is compromised, all of David's considerable assets would suddenly be thrown into legal limbo. In which case, the state would be legally obligated to come in and pick up the pieces. So this is just all about his money? I'm almost disappointed in you, Morgan. Well, when you take in consideration all the factors, it's actually more complicated than that. But, for example... Huh? Never mind. No, Stalling, you should speak your mind. All I mean to say is what Dr. Schur did have significant holdings in odd real estate and intellectual property. He also, of course, owned a great deal of stock in numerous corporations, principally Noble. If he was ruled to not be of sound mind, and his shares were to end up acquired by the government, Noble would suffer a serious blow to its commercial image and its standing in the financial community. Although which is to say that there's a great deal at stake here. Not the least of which is the reputation of a man whom I was proud to call my friend. You're not buying this, are you? In case you haven't noticed, the city is working closely with Noble on this, and I'm not gonna let you bring them any unwanted attention. Stalling did her part. They're watching, and they've stopped trying to hide it. From here on out, it's a gamble. Noble Electronics already has unwanted attention. Why you're raising your voice? If nothing changes, by the end of the day, the whole country is gonna hear about how David Schur committed suicide. By midnight, there will be questions about his competency, concerns about why the brain inside every single Noble ad was built apparently by an apparently unstable man. The shareholders will have nothing to do all Sunday but brood over that sad thought and all its disturbing implications. By the time the markets reopen on Monday, I would expect a great deal of volatility. That's so. I understand Noble's apprehension, of course, Emma. I just feel like right now, the fiscally conservative thing to do would be to not get in my way. So you've got reasons, and Noble's got a lot to think about. But why should a district attorney's office devote valuable time to playing out this little game of yours? Because they're certain they will win. That goes without saying. The court should have an opening at 6 p.m. I didn't have anything planned. Then it's a date. Detective, would you get your clearance set up? Yes, ma'am. Updates every hour, yeah? You're out on a limb, Morgan. Better not linger. Here. Clearance for all the relevant sites and police firewalls. You can interview and investigate with your authority as an officer of the court now. If you haven't already been doing that. Don't even think about being sloppy with discovery on this. Rockford might think you're funny, but I appreciate the warning, Detective Reyes. It's nice to know you care. I live to serve. And protect! Phew. Thanks for the assist, darling. Yeah, no sweat. Are all cops like that? Are they more like Detective London Gentlemen? I do want to be mean, but also I want to be mean. They're mostly like that, yes. They're all that intense? Yes, it comes from being short. Damn! Remind me, how tall is Reyes? 162. Oh. No. Morgan is 175, which is... Stalling is 176. And most cops are short? Yes. Right. Well, I'll see you at the courthouse tonight. If you need anything in the meantime, don't be afraid to ask. Good luck, both of you. What do we do now? Well, I have a few options. I have access to the crime scene now. Probably the best place to start. I'd like to head over to the company building as well. To get me registered? Among other things. Either David killed himself, or he didn't. But if he did, it's almost suddenly his asshole corporate overloads were to blame. In which case, I want to take my sweet time raking them over the coals. What are you doing? Nothing. What about Father? When can we see him? He'll be at the morgue by now. Medical examiner will speak to me now that I'm operating under the court's authority. But if I stop the flash paperwork at every nurse and security guard with nothing better to do than ask questions, I'll have to... What's that look for? With Father's friend. Thank you, again, for reminding me. Aren't there people you'd like to speak with? Other friends you would want to know? Bad news travels fast. I'm sure everyone in the country has heard about David at this point. Well, that Halbrecht shit did keep me pretty occupied these last few weeks, and I was never one to pry. If there was someone who could tell me more about David's personal life over the several months, it'd be worth the effort of finding them. Do you have someone in mind? Maybe someone he met recently? He spoke about becoming close with someone this year, a musician. Now that you mention it, there was something that David might have mentioned when we talked back in. How will we begin a search? I've completed my search. I found nothing. Thanks for the old college try. Is that really the best you can do? I thought I was a private man in person and online. With just a few letters and the fact that he was a musician, I'm afraid we don't have enough information to narrow down the results, don't I? No, we have plenty of information. We just need the right person for the job. What kind of person is that? Time date expunged. Precinct 112. Detainment room 001. And who would you have even called? I don't know. But I still should have gotten my phone call. Instead I got you. Were you again? My latest guardian? Your foster parent? I need to call you mommy? I'm not really the motherly type. Hey, we might actually get along. So I've got good news and bad news. I'm not your guardian, I'm your lawyer. You've been given a lawyer because you're being charged with a felony. Fascist pig, skipping a school's a felony now? Hacking into a government database has been a felony for a very long time. That wasn't me. You have your keystrokes, your IP address, your login times, and the playlist you were listening to. That was for a homework assignment. Here's what I don't get. You got in, copied the data, could have gone right out. State wouldn't even know they'd been robbed until they saw the passwords show up on black market clearance 2 weeks later. But you didn't get out. You stayed and made changes to the database. You robbed the bank, you got clean money, then dragged a can of spray paint behind you all the way home. Why? Look, I didn't steal anything. I wasn't already compromised. And the only data I did was my own. So if anything, they should be thanking me for correcting their mistakes. What? Did I get your birthday wrong? My name. Name changes are only 2 pages of paperwork. You just need to fill out a form and get a signature from a parent or a guardian. So, what's the good news then? The good news was that I'm your lawyer, not your guardian. The hell? This doesn't count as good news. That's just a thing you said. Don't be so sure. A lawyer's a lot better than a guardian. How's that? Parents, guardians, foster whatevers, they're all supposed to take care of you because it's the right thing to do. A lawyer is always someone who always does what's best for you, no matter what, because that's how they get paid. So how good are you at your job? Hello, mon coeur. It's pronounced cur. I know how it's pronounced. An arcane term for a dog, an abandoned mother. Did you mean cur? Hot. And don't call me that! When I met Fran in that police station, I couldn't help but bet I landed the jackpot. A valuable asset with skill set complementary to my own personal and private pursuits. Someone who, after seeing the sweetheart probationate deal I managed to land for them, would be more than happy to help me with whatever I need, whenever I need. Always so cold, Fran. Can't I even get a good morning? No such thing. Nothing's good ever happened until the afternoon, when people are actually awake. What I got instead was a compulsive liar with a horrific sleep schedule and crippling addiction to poor time management. I think it's me. What do you want, Red? I can't call you up just for fun. Not if you want to get blocked. I need you to find somebody for me. Can't do it. I've got her homework. We both know the only time you ever do your own homework is during the class it's due. And I've got sports. You can't tell basketball from a hockey stick. And I've got a bidding war to win. You're the only person on Earth bidding on 70-year-old Gucci and Air Jordan vintage reps, Fran. I think you didn't take your eyes off the auction block. Oh, I'm being cold. Give me a second. Alright, am I back? Why does it say my internet is unstable? Give me a sec. Alright. Sorry about that. Phone calls being on my phone means my internet gets swept up. I think you can take down your eyes off the auction block. So yeah, sorry, but I'm busy, so... I was hoping we could skip straight to the carrot portion of the routine, but if you insist on doing things from the top... Huh? I had an interesting conversation with your parole officers yesterday. Oh, yeah? They've been really into the self-prefixes lately. What? Self-motivation, self-actualization, self-help. D&D mode for streams going forward, I think. I mean, yeah, I guess so. But I mean, depends on how long the phone call is. And it was my mom. Oh. And he thinks you could really benefit from it. You're lying. He's got all the workbooks ready. Well, your Saturdays are stacked, so I'm sure your Sundays are full of... Fine, I get it. I need you to find a local musician. Musician? Knowing you, this will be Electro Swing or some awful. Last name Powell or Parker. And that's all you got? They'll be in David Asher's circles. Wait, Asher? You're working that? That should be more than enough for a clever kid like yourself to go on. Don't go expecting any miracles. I need this soon. Within the hour, ideally. Within the... No, I have other clients, don't you? Other clients who actually pay you. On time. A musician. Find him. Okay. Even talking over the phone, you're very animated, Adonai. What do you mean? Just that you're very expressive when you talk to people. Of course I'm expressive. If I wasn't, how would anyone know what I'm thinking? I see. I'll keep that in mind as we... Wait, you really expect to tag along? Of course. Father was... Yeah. I know what you want to. But why should I let you? Because I'm capable and helpful. Uh-huh. I mean it. I can take notes for you. And move heavy objects. And I'll learn to do more. How? I will subject every individual we encounter to a basic survey. You procure your... So I had the suspicion that, yes, Sarah was the one doing the interviews. Subjecting them to torture. I can help, Adonai. How fast can you fill out forms? Fast. Congratulations, you're halfway to being a paralegal. We got Sarah, baby! August 29th, height 160 centimeters, weight 199.99 kilograms. Blood type UAD. Occupation unemployed paralegal. This likes martial arts combination collarbones. This dislikes static blackouts elevators. Talents, I'm good at a lot of things. Skills, I'm not sure how skills differ from talents. I also like the 180 rules. No! Sarah, no! Also, here's Fran. Hacker, but don't put that down, obviously. Also, here's Francois Snow. Baby. You coming? Right away, don't I? Also, due to the stream having restarted, ads are gonna be in 1 minute. Penthouse dining room. Pretty quiet elevators, huh? Dining room. Just for that, huh? You could have taken the next one. It's a busy building, detective. Can't hold up everyone else on our account. Anything you'd like to grumble at me before I start? Don't touch anything. I don't care what you're wearing, that you're wearing gloves. I have been to crime scenes before, you know. Long before the police get there, in many cases. Look, Rockford asked me to not get in your way, but that doesn't mean I'm going to bend over for you. You at least have the autopsy report. No. Are you seriously? I don't. She doesn't? The report should have come in hours ago. It wouldn't take this long unless the cause of death was still... Then I'd settle for a summary of the preliminary findings. An emergency call was made shortly after 8 p.m. last night via the home security system. Emergency medical services had a VTOL in the air within the minute. They landed on the penthouse helipad at 8:08. Dr. Scher was found unconscious with low blood pressure and a weak heartbeat. He wasn't breathing. In-flight auto-triage administered artificial CPR while in transit to Catesfield Memorial. He was declared dead a few minutes after being taken to the emergency wing. I see. And the cause of death is? Being investigated. Make an educated guess. He stopped breathing, so they gave him oxygen. His heart stopped pumping, and they had the machines take over. His brain activity dropped to 0, and there wasn't anything else they could do. It was poison, wasn't it? What kind? You don't know, do you? Ah, they don't know either. Like I said, ma'am, we don't have the autopsy report yet. Why are you certain it was poison, Adonai? Couldn't have been an accidental overdose? If you had overdosed on a commercial drug, even a pre-med student would have spotted it on the hospital intake screening. It would have been able to pump his stomach, neutralize his bloodstream, and he would have lived. But he didn't live. So it must have been something deadly, a compound designed solely to kill. Fast-acting, deadly poison that causes respiratory failure. The list can't be that long. Even just through process of elimination, the medical examiner should have identified it by now, unless... You suspect a designer drug, don't you, detective? Why is it that you're only quick on the uptake when it suits you? Nothing else makes sense, given what we know and what we don't. But the coca decriminalized in Kellogg all recreational drugs. A series of laws passed in the 2060s that decriminalized all narcotics use and established the Bureau of Narcotics Oversight to administrate the production, licensing, distribution, and taxation of drugs across the country. Overwhelmed by civil unrest and eager to replenish government coffers, the CDCA were intended to reduce the backlog of criminal cases across the country and provide much-needed tax income, while also incentivizing immigration with the promise of amnesty. In what was considered a domino effect, other major nations around the globe passed comparable laws to build up their own depleted war chest and revitalize their local economies. The so-called white wave of global amnesty overturned the international drug trafficking market in just a few short years. The grey waves followed soon after, as money-starved criminal organizations waged economic and literal war against multinational corporations for dominance of this new grey market. This competition for government licenses to produce classic narcotics emerged alongside a race to develop new, more powerful designer drugs and to monopolize on their sale in the months it would take for the government to identify and legalize them. While rates of addiction and overdose death have dropped since their peaks in the last 2 decades, the dangers associated with untested designer drugs and drug distributors' eagerness to new customers has continued to fuel debate over the legacy of the CDCA and the white wave as a whole. Alright, fun times. Guess you aren't entirely clueless about politics. So whatever your father overdosed on should have been in the hospital database. You need to update your definitions. You're confusing designer drugs with recreational drugs. In the literal sense, designer merely denotes any drug that is custom-made as opposed to mass-produced, typically outside of normal pharmaceutical industry standards. In common parlance, however, designer drugs, DEDs, are illicit narcotics formulated to produce a recreational high, while the CDCA and the white wave that followed it legalized and taxed virtually all known narcotics. It did so alongside extensive documentation and study, and those laws could only apply to drugs that already existed. Any drugs patented after the white wave must go through approval processes and registration with national and international authorities, a time-consuming process that can take anywhere from 6 months to several years. This timeline creates a window of opportunity wherein organized criminal groups can step in to meet the demand for a narcotic. Well, because riding the wave is the new normal for the international drug trade, pitting mob chemists against corporate laboratories in a race to develop newer, more powerful, more easily habit-forming drugs, and cornering the market on them before legislation catches up to them. Users also frequently searched for, is Nerve legal yet? Best New Deads 2086, Nirvana, designed by who? Ooh, okay. What is the difference? Recreational drugs are decriminalized and sold through pharmacies and after years of testing and mountains of paperwork. While the average designer drug was invented last week in a 19-year-old line cook's bathroom on the other side of the globe. Hospitals can know the proper countermeasures for an overdose of that drug that didn't exist 48 hours ago. I came across makeshift labs all the time when I was a uniform. The equipment's cheap and widely available. Black market cooks, grey market peddlers, and white-collar lobbyists, all chasing each other's tails in a long line to find the next big hit. CDCA didn't change shit. Most people died from ODs than ever before. Only difference is their families finding them in the living room and not beat cops finding them on street corners. Real comforting, I'm sure. If it wasn't for you talking, I'd say that was a criticism of law enforcement. Not law enforcement, just the law. Assuming it was a designer drug, that would certainly make things more complicated. For the insurance guys, maybe. For us, whatever he used to do it, he still killed himself. Or didn't kill himself if you insist. I'm going to take a look around now. Yeah, sure, make yourself at home. What's that space for? I thought there would be an outline. An outline? Around where they found father. Like in the movies? Like in film. Connect to the police. Oh, is she gonna talk in British English? Connect to the police network and bring up their AUX file. Augmented reality crime scene. I see. Alright, time to look at the ARCs. There is an outline. And so this is where he died at the hospital. This is just where the medics found him. It's the sensors and cameras that they were wearing that create the basis for this ARCs. They didn't realize they were walking into a crime scene, but the body cams gathered data all the same. Where do we start? You can start by following behind me and trying to be as quiet as possible. I'm starting to get a feel for when she's pouting even when looking. Oh no. Alright, chessboard. A chessboard and a datapad with a series of characters on it. E4, C5, NF3, E6, D4, CXD4, and NXD4. This is... It's probably the game, but it might be like a cipher. Some kind of secret message, perhaps, or... Like us checkmate in 40 moves. What? A robot that's good at chess! We ought to put you in a museum! Well, I'll take your word for it. What do you mean? Do you not play Adonai? No, especially not against David. Well, that is to be expected. Anyone who challenged Father to a battle of wits would naturally grow tired of losing. Every game starts the same. Each player has the same pieces, the same moves, the same options. It's a true test of wit, strategy, and forethought. To me, it always seemed too boring? Too fair. The smarter player wins every time. And that is something you take fault with? Of course! How's a guy like me supposed to win a game of like that? So he's here, then when the medics arrived, he was on the floor, face up. Does that tell you something? Hey, if you were going to drink a glass of poison, would you be sitting or standing when you did it? I find it very difficult to speculate on that hypothetical scenario. The seat of by his body is pulled out. If he was seated when he lost consciousness, I would expect to find him slumped over on the table. But he wasn't found slumped over. No, he wasn't. And if he had been standing when he lost consciousness, I think he would have fallen forward, or at least collapsed less neatly. But what can you conclude from that, Adonai? Only that I'm missing something. Better take a closer look. Got multiple things here. 2 cups, 1 empty, knocked over, and 1 mostly empty. These look cheap. Did his guest bring them? I've seen them before in the basement liquor cabinet. He kept this lying around. I knew he regifted those crystal glasses I got him. Ox says there's nothing foreign on the upper right one, so it can't have been poisoned. Results are inconclusive on the other cup, however. Looks bone dry. Must have been nothing but fumes left by the time this was considered a crime scene. Just not enough there for them to test. Inconclusive can mean Inconclusive means inconclusive, that is all. Cheer up and read me the results of the fingerprinting. Father's prints are on both cops as suspected, but there's someone else on the operated cop, so someone else must have been with him last night. Slow down. All it proves is that someone else touched the cop. Doesn't tell us when they did it. And since we don't know who the prints belong to... I don't know. Why don't we know who the prints belong to? Other prints flagged as unidentified or... No. There's space for a name, but the field is blank. Shit. Am I already that late to the action? Detective Reyes. Yeah? Here's a second set of prints on the cops. Is there a form you'd like me to sign? Doesn't matter how nicely you ask. Sometimes people just can't answer. You should know damn well, Madam Counselor. I was afraid you'd say that. I don't understand, Adonai. What does that mean? It means that whomever those prints belong to has a very proactive representation. Those prints belong to a witness, as you've guessed. You're more than welcome to the testimony. But the identity is. The department is being very considerate of the witness privacy out of respect for their time and appreciation for their corporation. Fine, forget the name. That easily? Subpoenas are always an option, but I'm short on time. A legal order issued by the state on behalf of the prosecution or defense that compels the addressed party to give testimony, provide information, or to turn over evidence. Failure to comply with a subpoena would result in being charged with contempt of court. What did the witness have to say for themselves, Detective? To paraphrase, they came to see Dr. Asher last night. The two of them talked, and they had a drink together. And the doctor got sick, so they activated the emergency system from the panel in the kitchen. The EMTs came and took them both to the hospital. Asher's condition got worse. All of the witnesses' vitals were normal. The witness had their vitals taken. Then there should be a record of their admission at Gatesfield. And that's it. I'm guessing you didn't just take all of that on faith. Penumbra sat in most of the rooms on this floor. Everything the witness told us was corroborated by the building's own surveillance system. So yes, we can guarantee that the witness never put anything in Asher's drink. I'm guessing that I can't have the keys to the Penumbra, can I? Not until the witness's lawyers are done reviewing it. Lawyers? Plural? I don't have time to trade jabs with the law office of Johnson, Johnson, Johnson & Johnson. Say, how would I give you their business card? The law offices of Kochler, Gustav, Prince, and Prince. I was close. No, I'll be getting any client information out of them directly. If all you bloodsuckers want to get together and tear each other apart, text me before you start. I like to watch. Yeah, I bet you'd like to watch. What does that even mean? I don't know. Needed a moment to think. So that was it? One chat, one peek at the camps, and you already eliminated them as a suspect? Look, they were searched. They didn't have any poison, any drugs, not even a stick of gum. Even if they somehow did have poison on them, the camera footage confirms they had no opportunity to use it. They drank from the same bottle as a dead man. As far as the department's concerned, they were nearly the second victim. But they aren't dead, or even ill, from the sound of things. Do you think he poisoned his own cup beforehand, then poured both of them from a safe bottle? Plus the cup that David Asher was drinking from before he died. Forensic analysis shows matches for his fingerprints and saliva, but toxicology tests have proven inconclusive. Too much of the whiskey was drunk and or evaporated. That's what the evidence is telling us. There's nothing in the bottle or the witness cup. Well, the other cup. Saliva and fingerprints match an unknown individual. Contains no traces of foreign elements. But after drinking from his cup, a cup he prepared himself, he fell ill and the witness didn't. And Asher died with a foreign substance in his body. An unidentified foreign substance. Suicide by poison. I get that you were close and simple explanations aren't all that satisfying, but that's life. One last thing, you just said he prepared his cup himself. Did you see that on camera? He left the parallel to get the drinks and came back with his already poured. The witness says he got them from the basement. The witness says that, not the cameras? There is no cams in the labs, or the basement. That seems like a security hazard. Why would Noble not set things up more carefully? It's intentional. If cams of his lab ever got hacked, outsiders could steal his IP and kick Noble's monopoly to the curb. Right, David did complain about Noble's weird protocols for combating corporate espionage. I was going to take comfort in knowing that Father wasn't alone when he died. Yeah, that's worth investigating. Alright, witness testimony. Statements made by the singular witness to be David's assured suspected poisoning and death, corroborated by video evidence. The witness arrived at 7:30 p.m. The witness spoke with David Asher in his parlor before he left to retrieve liquor from his basement at 7:36 p.m. Upon returning at 7:38 p.m., the two of them continued speaking while they both drank. David Asher fell lethargic and disoriented shortly after 8 p.m. David Asher lost consciousness at 8:03 p.m. EMS were called from the emergency console in the kitchen at 8:04. Asher and the witness were taken to Gatesfield Memorial Hospital at 8:08. Alright. So we have a time frame. But also, if it wasn't the... We have a time frame of when they were both in the room. But the thing is that if the bottle is the one that like is the contents, either the other witness has like some kind of, you know, is not a worm, like isn't a person who can be affected by poison, or they have a pre-existing condition, and that I mean Asher probably. The other thing is that potentially they were already poured, but there were something happened with the cup itself. We'll have to see. Rose River Whiskey, 12 years old. You recognize it? Sure, he was more than partial to the brand. It's a good brand, only a bit overpriced, which is the bargain of a lifetime in David's world. It appears that the police have already tested its contents. No foreign matter present. Okay, so the bottle was not tampered with? Is it possible that the police missed the poison? No, even if they can't identify the poison, they can detect its presence by comparing samples of the whiskey to a bottle of the store shelf. So we can eliminate the possibility that the bottle of whiskey was poisoned. We'll have to find a smoking gun elsewhere. Alright, so no bottle tampering. So something with the cup, or Asher has a pre-existing condition. Or Asher consumed something before that could have triggered a reaction with the whiskey. Password locked, but already cracked by the police, it seems. All the ducks would take home safe, nothing spicy. When was it last used? 7:48. Still reading work emails only a few minutes before he committed suicide. Morbid. There's a lot of messages marked priority that breadcrumb their way back to. An article. Warm android blood saves soldier's life. That was an article that we saw earlier. This is that article that I've seen going around. But why would Noble have marked it as priority? Stalling, they said they weren't even in any rush to pat each other on the back over it, even though they won themselves a real prize. I mean, on one end there's easy PR, on the other hand, military contract is probably good, so I'm gonna save. The idea of DSUs, they need to pressure the military into a contract for more mentorates, and I'm glad I was correct. Don't dismiss the expensive upgrade as unnecessary now that it saved the soldier's life. This time next year, there'll be pink oxidizing fluid being split all over the globe. Yes, it's time for the cup. Spilled alcohol. The ox showed how it looked last night before it evaporated. No foreign substance in the puddle. It's clean. But does that mean wherever this spill came from must be clean as well? Results are deemed inconclusive, which means there might be something. Alright. We got all of this. There's the veranda. Yeah. I always admired this view. The buildings gleam with the reflection of holograms and sunlight, and the shadows obscure all the rundown, rooting parts of town. Maybe the view's secondary. Maybe all anyone really wants is to put as much distance between them and the street level as possible. Is it possible the witness could have seen something through these windows? Not through these windows, no. David installed wide spectrum auto tint on all his homes, all his cars. I didn't know that. Well, you wouldn't notice unless you were viewing the penthouse from more than... Why did he care so much about these windows? Good question. What is left here? Something here? Oh, the chair. One chair knocked over, probably where David was sitting. And one chair pulled out, a party of two. He never cared much for socializing, but he enjoyed the hosting. Contradictory guy. Police androids monitoring the scene, but almost mistake them for the real thing. The way they stand here trying to look important. Like an indoor dog taking its first trip to the park. Pardon? Why are you looking at it like you've never seen an android before? Because I haven't in person. David didn't even let you have a mirror? Rule. Just scan his gin if you're that curious. Unless that's considered too forward or whatever. Seems like that's everything critical on this side of the room, which leaves the kitchen. He said there's camera footage of the dining room showing David and his guest. What about in here? Only camera in the kitchen is the one mounted on the call terminal. The console took a snap image when the witness ran in to contact emergency services. May I see it? Not unless you scrape the witness face off the pics first. Don't tempt me. This is where the emergency call was made. What time did the call go out? 8:04 p.m. Before you ask, the witness left the parlor at 8:03 p.m. Not enough time for them to alter the scene. I wasn't going to ask that. When did the medics arrive? 8:08 p.m., remember? Hell of a response time for a penthouse. Private MES, came out here? Yeah, they landed on the VTOL pad you saw outside. Took him to Gatesfield. The very best if he can afford it. Looking around here, seems like he could afford it lots. He got his insurance through his employer, just like most people. Caduceus Executive Plan 4 isn't like most people, Counselor. That sounds like a very good cover. Executive Full Plan. David assures health insurance policy with Caduceus, paid for through Noble Electronics, includes private MES services on standby. Caduceus only offers the 3 levels of employer-provided plans that outrank it. Damn. He had executive level? Not like most people at all. We have the door, we have the shelf, and we have the sink. I'm gonna go for the sink. 3 unwashed dishes and a single glass. Raise, these dishes haven't been scanned for prints yet. And I just assume you might want to do your job. Yeah, there are prints. Most match the victim. But there was also a... Hey, don't sneak up on me like that. All I did was walk over to you. You knocked over the salt, Adonai. I was focused on the task at hand. Didn't realize tunnel vision was a selling point on your mod. Adonai, the salt. I was saying, the witness prints are on that glass. That glass in the sink. They were drinking from cups in the parlor. Did you see a glass on camera? No. So when did they touch this glass? There's the DNA and fingerprints of the unknown witness. No trace of any poison. You need to toss it over your shoulder. Sarah? Mommy is doing something. In a sink. Witness must thought about giving the guy some water, but he would have just choked on it if they had tried. What, you think this glass was the murder weapon? It's bad luck, Adonai. Whacked him on the back of his head so fast it went between video frames. That's genius! You should go through the footage frame by frame to prove your theory. Mature. It's bad luck. What you been going on about? The salt? Should a machine be above petty superstition? It's not a superstition. It's an ancient wisdom. Give me one logical reason to care then. If too much salt spills on your food, it'll make you gag. Maybe it's on me for setting the bar too low there. What about the salt shaker? A A salt shaker that was accidentally knocked over during the investigation. The cap was loose and so salt spilled all over the countertop next to the sink. Spilled salt is an omen of bad luck, according to some. Consuming too much salt at once would make you gag, according to Sarah. David's fridge. Normally I wouldn't go poking in the pantry of the crime scene, but this was a poisoning. Some white wines chilling in a drawer. Some real cheap liquor stuffed in the icebox. Old habits. Race, you said he left the parlor and came back with that whiskey from the basement. Huh? That's what the cameras show, yeah. There's plenty to drink here, right here. And unlike the cabinet downstairs, it's actually cold. You must have wanted Rose River in particular. What does that look for? You hungry? I am an android. I do not get hungry. Are you being sarcastic? Only mostly. I thought you said you required organic nourishment. I do ingest organic substance, but that doesn't mean that I experience hunger as you do. When you don't ingest organic substances for a long time, I become tired. What a great feature. And when I'm done digesting, I don't need to know. Messy workspaces, but a pristine kitchen. David was a good cook, but only for others. Unless he had a guest, he happily eat instant ramen and protein bars, all for free meals. Or two. Or one. No signs of food prep to be found. Not so much as a cheese board. So whoever this guest was, they must have shown up unannounced. You have now the chance to survey the crime scene. Yeah. So do you think you know what happened? Detective, is his body still at the hospital morgue? Yeah, he's at Casefield, along with a half-hundred noble megs with all called dibs. I'll just have to cut in line. Sarah, get me a ride to Gatesfield's memorial. What, you can't do that, right, can't you? I can, but I need your payment information to get started. Yeah, okay, understood. On my way down. Got it? Incomplete. That pickup for 10 minutes should be plenty. The crowd down there seems to have gotten quite large. 10 minutes to reach a pickup spot may be an ambitious target, I don't know. How bad can it be? As I approach the lobby's exit, the building's soundproofing begins to fail. The crowd has gotten bigger. There's something else happening out there. The energy's not panicked yet, but it's creeping out on the tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling androids? The hills got them all excited and also excited. Adonai, what does that symbol mean? In this rabble, probably something vulgar. Which one? That heart with a bullet hole. I don't know. It's probably nothing. I see. Based on its association, it appears to be a symbol for the Heartbreak Killer. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would that freak have a symbol, or a following, or whatever these people are? And why the hell would they be outside David Assure's apartment? Because Noble's trying to cover up the truth. They are? Those Megs in there are scrambling to shred every document they can. We need to stick together, form a perimeter, and try and catch them when they go to dump the scraps. Sarah, what are you hoping to find? Rupert Asher was killed for trying to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle on Heartbreak. Noble doesn't want the world to know that the A16 is sentient and homicidal. You think that Heartbreak is an android? You think wherever we did all that was human? Noble's advanced prototype went amok and started killing random people. Don't be a lamb. It only works random. There's a clear pattern as long as you're smart enough to see past the bullshit. Oh, okay. And how does one see past the bullshit? Stop engaging. Smart kid, she gets it. She's asking the right questions. What the hell are you talking about? The way those victims aren't related. It's gotta be deniable ops. Conspiracy theories are no laughing matter. If you're worried that someone you know might be indoctrinated or spreading misinformation themselves, you can report them to the state at our non-confidential portal here. I will mention that yes, conspiracy theories an awful lot. And as soon as they outlive their usefulness, what are you, nuts? Everyone knows the first 6 HK got to were the 6 prototypes that came before him. Oh, Mandroid's so perfect no one could tell the diff. A bullet to the heart is the only way he could kill those other over-engineered freaks. Everyone's got a goddamn opinion. I see. Stop saying, start moving. These people are insane. Why don't you eat some more corn slop, asshole? You think you can beat a cyberpunk without... Be the cyberpunk! Originally a term coined in a short science fiction story and later having grown into a genre all on its own. Cyberpunk or cyberpunk historically has referred to a counterculture centered around the theme of underdogs resisting powerful corporate or government forces through digital guerrilla warfare. While the genre has persisted to modern times and evolved in numerous ways, over the last 2 decades it has kind of taken on new meaning as a kind of mythologized way of being for the adolescent or disaffected to aspire to. A code of conduct that emphasizes anti-authoritarianism, community organizing, corporate disengagement, and socioeconomic consciousness. The so-called singular cyberpunk was to become the 21st century man without a name, a wanderer with their own rule of law. Cultural critic Simon Essentia summarized the appeal as thus. There's no such thing as a 21st century hero. Is it any wonder the most vulnerable among us turn to the past for guidance? Users also frequently search for get ready with me cyberpunk. The 99 man explained, are cops illegal? Co-ops illegal. You think it's a coincidence with victims number 6 was working on the hardcore crops? They're putting something in the food! They're putting chemicals in the water that turn frogs gay. Those people. Heartbreak. This is a goddamn embarrassment. The hell I'm paying taxes for the state if the state can't shut this shit down. What about you, Adonai? What do you think about this heartbreak figure? They're just a murderer. Should be caught and sentenced like any other murderer. But it must have some reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious? Why? Are some reasons for committing murder better than others? They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have. Millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions. And yet there's only one heartbreak. Do you think that they were just born that way? That's my guess. That's unsatisfying. Sad. I don't see why it would be. If heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else. If heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people have to ever worry about turning out like them. That kind of predestination, it means they never have to take responsibility for what they are. The state can make them take responsibility. As soon as they catch them, you make it sound so trivial. They're a very dangerous serial killer. Just a serial killer. Just? If HK shot someone every day, it would make them 1,132 years and about 11 months. In order to have killed 413,789 people. You did that in your head? I'm good at mental math. You counted the leap years. What is the significance of that number? Deaths within 18 months of the Blakeford industrial disaster. I see. I see. Times that number by 2 for the injuries. Tack on another 183% for the birth defects. 413,000 dead, and there wasn't anything evil about it. Just human error, some shoddy welding, and time. Do you think that the heartbreak is nothing by comparison? Perhaps that is the problem then. If they're nothing, they represent nothing, and they can stand for whatever the crown wants them to. Please make way. Officials are coming through. Please disperse. Keep walking, pigs! Fascist! Noble owns the cops! Only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are we tolerating this shit? You want me to wade into the crowd with a nightstick? Prove them wrong? You know what I mean. We're the only people in the city trying to do some goddamn good, and they all just... That's just part of how it worked. Our job, detective. No offense, man, but wearing a police badge urges you a little more hate than Did you give prosecutors badges? I have an idea for the parking garage. Does that count? Depends. You ever hesitate to wear it in the open? This moral relativism of yours seems a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai. Breaking the thesaurus on me? I'm only being realistic and humble. I'm just one woman, Sarah. Whatever I do, right or wrong, it's less than a % rounding error in the grand scheme of things. Do you tell that to your clients? No, but they come to appreciate it when I win. I don't mean cops in particular. The same deals applies to anyone who works for the state. The terms are stark, but the ink dried a long time ago, and we all agreed to them. I don't recall voting for it. Well, not voting is how these things come to pass, so... We traded freedoms for safety, individual rights for collective power. The state won, the citizen lost. The very least we can do is take the criticisms head on. Look, I don't have a problem with responsibilities of authority, only with authority being challenged. But they treat us like we're the bad guys. Well, sometimes we are. Sometimes the law is wrong. If any given individual is too small to ever affect change. So if the public's gonna hate us, no matter what we do, and if corporations and governments will trample over people the same, regardless of their character, and if we can't even be sure we're doing the right thing, what do you do, Adonai? What the hell do we do? I think it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as you think. In times like these, in a world like this, the only logical way to live is... The only moral way to act is... do whatever it takes to win. If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I can do my worst and no one will notice. If power is inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul. Just fight with both barrels, and trust the opposition to do the same. Winner takes all. I think that is with this beautiful entire spiel, I'm gonna run ads, and then we're gonna go until a little bit because we'll have to see. Well, we'll see on what I'm gonna do later. But yeah, I'm gonna run ads. We're gonna have a little break because I do need to go piss. Going for bio break. See you in a little bit. Alright, I'm back. Welcome back to Of the Devil. Gonna be continuing a little fun times with Morgan and Sarah. Thank you. You're a lifesaver. And the next time that Brightzilla texts you, just turn your phone off. Chatty guy must have been due to go on break. And he tried and failed to find a witness's medical record. His datapad had his name blacked out. I did see they have Caduceus Executive Free, more expensive than David's, which means they're most likely. How didn't you know that? You need to hold the button to get the doors to close faster. Mashing does nothing. This is not what I meant. There were many others who were right before us. How did you get us down here so quickly? I didn't do anything. It was that nurse who escorted us. Well, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with so few words, so little information. I don't think you even gave him your name. Haven't you heard of the golden rule? Of course I have. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Wrong. Treat others how they would want to be treated. He wanted someone that he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him, and he wanted to feel appreciated, which meant he would be eager to help given the chance. Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult. How can you know how another person wants to be treated? There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone's thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover. There'll always be a gamble. That is not a very comforting sentiment. Well, I think it's fun. Only because you're good at it. How did you get good at it? Same as anything. Observation and practice. You must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then. So proceed down the hall, bear left, look for the fourth door. I'm gonna open the one that says Morg on it. Hmm? Oh, hey! Come in, don't stand out there in the cold, wouldn't be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here, but I run a little hot. And you can see my roommates never complain. Yumi Sato, medical examiner. Dr. Sato, just the lady I wanted to see. But I didn't expect that I'd get to. Why did they have a sound of medical examiner and not some adult junior means? Oh, you can just call me Yumi. And you're? Morgan. I represent the deceased. The deceased. Oh, the deceased! Wait, really? That's weird. I thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people would... I know. Weird, right? Well, what the hell do I know? It was getting tired of hosting Megs anyway. I gotta finish typing up this report before we talk shop. But in the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home. Time to investigate. What's this? The hospital getting renamed? No, guess it's some other hospital that got snapped up. Hospital named to thank Ikaria family. In a ribbon-cutting ceremony held uptown today, Plutter Memorial Hospital was formally renamed the Northeastern Ikaria Medical Complex in recognition of the family's incredible donations over the last several years. It's the latest in a string of philanthropic efforts by the family to result in a name change after they paid for the renovations to the orchestra hall and the retrofitting of what used to be known as the Scout Arena. But it wasn't so long that the Ikaria were better known for drawing blood than donating it. Back before the 50s, they had a fearsome reputation for cutthroat business practices that had the business rivals going so far as to accuse them of involvement with organized crime. After the founding of Regen Medical over 25 years ago and its subsequent sale, the Ikaria have moved out of the business world and into the operations of society, as sometimes mockingly referred to as the Neo-ability, a generation of newly minted aristocrats born from the unique and chaotic economics of the mid-21st century and the Great Decade. When asked her opinion on those who would label her family house Ikaria at the hospital renaming ceremony, Regen board member Mirai Ikaria had his to say. In this country, anyone can make a name for themselves so long as they're willing to put in the work. Mock new money all you want, but truth is that success is all about reinventing yourself, and the only ones uncomfortable with that are, we're working hard to print out the rest of your article character by character. It's tough work, but we'd be able to go about it a lot faster if you'd leave a tip. Wanna drop your payment info in the jar? No. The Ikaria, guess they weren't always in the same line of work. Audio went for those. That's the one. Also, here's Sato. Much fur, height 173 centimeters, no weight listed. Medical examiner. Likes accessories, reality TV, palm reading, dislikes social media, dress codes, ebooks. Loves to make new playlists, hates to throw out old clothes. My weekly meal prep, damn. Now they're plastering their name wherever they get themselves a new image. All the new ability are eager to prop up their image wherever they can. But that must go double for the Icarias, assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. That's a lot of screens. There's gotta be diminishing returns on productivity. Why do you have so many managers, ma'am? You can just ask someone that. Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory and budgeting, they ask me if I need anything, and I never do. So I submit a blank form. But I guess a while back there was a +1 in a spreadsheet somewhere and no one's ever corrected it, so... Boom, I get 4 new monitors every year. You run out of things to use them for? Sometimes, but this year I've started running 2 drums at once when I'm doing road work, which helps. Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do road work. Helps me use up the screens. I see. I don't want to imagine the layout for the screens. Are these all dead bodies? One would hope so. I only meant that I'm surprised to see them stored here. It suggests a backlog, which suggests a higher murder rate than the public data would lead one to expect. You only examine bodies for the police, Doctor. Oh, I wish. Nah, most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance deductions. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing. Mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exhausting enough. Family says the company insurance plan would pay for mods, but not a gym membership. Yeah, that whole wall there is suspected defective liver mods, suspected leaking internal bio batteries, suspected CCIC. Climate change and distant complications. You can prove that climate change contributed to an otherwise natural death? Very, very rarely. If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family of the deceased? Plus or minus 14% on the life insurance payout. I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job, it's just so much what I do. It just boils down to telling a bunch of cheap sex how to split the 10-minute spiel. Hi, Larry. How you doing? Larry is looking at the bed, and I don't know what he wants. I'm petting the boy. Don't worry. It's enough to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air. Is she finishing up over there? Right, okay, so what's up? Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be, what was the cause of death? Oh, wow, they're cute android. I didn't realize it was really cute. The skin, that's remarkable. Even just looking close, you could tell they really are warm. Still not quite the human body temperature, but they've gone a long way. The only gens look all flushed felt like they were always running a fever, and they ran like it too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted. Sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case call for expediency. Right. So what can I tell you? Were you able to determine the cause of death? Well, cause of death, sure. We got that much figured out at least. Doesn't that sound particularly reassuring? Doctor assured died of respiratory failure. Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system. What would the symptoms be? What would it have to look like? Lightheadedness, followed by dizziness, then headaches, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally, respiratory arrest. The report shows that the EMTs tried intubation, then resuscitation through electrical stimulation repeatedly. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation. It was too late. And you're certain of all this? Most of it, sweetie. Most of it? Yeah, it's soon going into the puzzle, and I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I was surprised a man as rich and famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes, but his files show. Bio is for Biomonitor. He wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. He was extensively monitored from the moment the EMTs arrived. We're certain about our conclusion. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises? No injection sites? Nothing in any cavities? Nothing at all, huh? The police mentioned a tox screen. Yeah, that's the thing. They ran a tox screen when he first arrived. Typical diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something, but the tox screen gave them nothing. Yeah, we got a tox screen. Alcohol was the only item positively identified at the time. Alright. After he died, he performed the broadest screenings possible. Nothing. We were forced to conclude that this was a natural death. I didn't give up that easily. I took blood samples and compared the makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history, and I managed to isolate a single, non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. I ran it through every available database we have access to. Even a few I only sort of have access to for some friend. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. So a designer drug, huh? That seems to be the best explanation. What the hell did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered? Those friends of yours, private sector folks? Yeah, in pharmaceutical. One of them patented a new compound, a new drug. What will keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual piracy is the norm, so you expect it to protect your research aggressively. Patents first, find a use later. Yeah, a patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in, it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record. Smart. Using international IP law is your own personal minefield. Also, whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formula so no one knows where it's safe to walk. Anybody small and ambitious comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your card and let them know you came up with the idea years ago. That you'll give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. Wouldn't work on anyone your size or bigger. They could punch back for the rest of the field. Wow, your corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with a strategy just now? So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance? Something that the hospital could have easily identified, if it wasn't considered a trade secret. Yes, unfortunately, that is a possibility. Still, just because the drug is new doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect this compound had remind you of any other drug? Maybe one that's prescription only or a controlled substance, one you might know by another name, but with a patented structure. Sorry, sweetheart, it's a general depressant. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they all come in shapes, and they come in all shapes and sizes from all kinds of places. The effect was unremarkable. What about its strength? Could you estimate how much of this stuff he had in his body all told? Not precisely, no. Not without detailed knowledge on his half-life, but I guess it must have been about 20 milligrams? Is 20 milligrams a lot? Not for a medicine, so this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless then. No, not if 20 mil was enough to crush his entire system. Thank you, Yumi. Of course, so, you ready to view the body? We could skip it if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay then, let's get started. Alright, I just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Yes, please. Thank you. The last time we talked was on a Sunday. You were complaining, I remember that. It's the principle of the matter. Right, you had ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake. And it came damaged, and you wanted to send it back for a refund. I gently reminded you how, with your salary, it was literally not worth your time. and I kindly offered to throw it out for you since you're having so much trouble letting go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds chattering at the bottom of a trash can. I denied it, even though you were right, and it was obvious. I should have let you have that one. I thought he would look different. But he looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale, and he's very still. But his face is the same. His hair, his hands. You were expecting something more drastic? The last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled, and he told me he would see me soon. Now he's dead. Something is gone, and I can't find the difference. I'm trying to look hotter, but I think I might just not be capable of it. And I wonder why. Why was I created to not be capable? Could be an issue of skill. Morgan just said everyone has skill issue. Or maybe it's not something that can be seen, no matter how hard you look. But it's there. I guarantee it. I've seen the transition enough times to be sure that, that between life and death, distinction has this significance. To the dead, at the very least. You're going to smoke? Here, now. I'll pay the fine. That's not the issue. Were you expecting me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio. And some don't grieve at all, it seems. I'm a cold woman. Sorry to disappoint. The hell? Why the hell wouldn't this thing light? I don't know. You have your cigarette backwards. Killing all of the cool, huh? Alright, that's back into cold storage for him, so... Need anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated? Sure, for what it's worth, let me just... It's got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen with hexagonal structures. It's organic, but it has a number of metallic elements too. If you had to speculate on its intended use based on what we know of its structure... Lost consciousness at 8:03 p.m. Declared dead at 8:25 in ICU. Redacted presiding. Cause of death: respiratory failure. Unknown substance detected in bloodstream. Approx 18-20 milligrams total. The loud curling handwriting at the bottom of the document reads, "What the hell is TalkScreen? Send attending physicians back to med schools. And apologies to attending physicians. These readings are a nightmare." Oh my god. Well, it certainly acted like a depressant, binding receptors pathways and affecting the balance of neurotransmitters reuptake. Depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene. True, people are always looking for a higher high or crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Not much to hit up the grey market for that kind of experience. No, there's not. I see. Thanks again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Hey, anything you need, give me a ring. That's very Rockford's orders got me on call, so I'm already getting overtime for the whole week. Glad to hear it. Goodbye, Yumi. And goodbye to you, Greenie. My name is Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under tramlines. Buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory. National headquarters for the likes of How Industry, Lok Kun, Tethys, Nave. Each of them sheltering their own... devs, you might want to look at that. Wellfall, the entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Live off the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... Do you really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, towering nerve center for the whole nation's androids industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I need answers about David and his work on Sarah. It's answers I would never get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis, relationship. There are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there? Someone will have the guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. But they'll let me walk. Would it let me walk? Would they let me talk to? History. The efforts of informative transparency and clumsy obfuscation will. How did you know my father? What? I'm sorry, did I interrupt your brooding? No. What did you ask? My father. I knew you were his friend. But what was your relationship like? Why don't you just scroll through your socials? Father avoided social media, and your online presence is not significant. You're saying I don't have enough followers? Essentially. We went to the same college. You studied programming? No, I studied all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school. Or anything else, really. David, though, he had talent, and he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, discrete math, cybernetics. What classes did you chair then? Business ethics. I was the second best student in the class, and he was the first? He was the one who asked the most questions. Not sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. Guess he felt burned. He'd come to me after class to argue, and sometimes to ask for help. But I always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. What, like I was some kind of social butterfly? The belle of the ball? You weren't? One Sunday night, he knocked on my door all panicked, saying he was in bad shape for this TIC course. It was a midterm with something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied though, wanted to cram the rest of the night. Thought I had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? Did I say something scandalous? He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yeah, well, even founder types can have poor time management when in 21. He was already fried by that point. It wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for. So I went to stole a study aid for him. He stole a controlled substance just to help him with study? No, that'd be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast because the taste is so strong. He gave him a placebo. He already knew the content as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. It didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just until it kicked in. And the test? B+, I think. I'm surprised that Father stayed close with you after that. You stole and lied to him. I stole and lied for him. And David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. But I guess that's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. Anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year of grad school, he published this paper, The Turing Solution, a framework for programming adaptive linguistic heuristics. One of his advisors came up with that title. David fucking was way too cocky, but still hasn't failed any known Turing test in the years since. Don't like that you're the one who deserves credit for it. He called me one weekend, asking for advice on how to handle all the connections, all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. That face is just pure, I'm mad at you for being mean about him. Oh my god. What did you tell him? I don't remember telling him anything, actually. A lot of our conversation went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. Adorable little pout. Yeah, he's a little pout. Hi, Larry. And at the end of the conversation, he'd thank me, even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer, and they took over his education, paid him to work on his master's during the day and attend corporate training at night. And whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. They are referring to his one-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code. Simple and elegant, but anathema to a global corporation with supply chains designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. But obviously, they got over the distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Even as he was making money hand over fist, he still kept in contact with a nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put down a bit down payment in my apartment. Then made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. Is that enough detail for you? We're really convinced that he and I were in fact friends. I am. But Adonai, the value did you owe him? What was it for? That's private. Understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Say you understand. I understand, Adonai. You'll be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead? Just tell them that David's lawyer is here. Alright. I'm gonna have to call stream off early. One, because we got a good stopping point here. And two, because I need to do a couple of things afterwards. So I'm gonna go for a few things. So yeah, stream is gonna be a little short. If you're wondering about the VOD, the actual full VOD that's gonna be on YouTube is gonna be full, like one complete video. I have recordings going, constant. But yeah. But otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. It's been lovely to have a nice time playing of the Devil. Can't wait for more investigation and more. Yeah, the local is intact. Yes, the local is intact. Always do local recordings. But yeah, next week we'll be doing some speedrunning on Thursday and some of the Devil on Friday. Still unsure what I'm doing for speedrunning. There's a couple of things that I'm interested in doing, and I will have to toss a coin or something like that. The other thing is that I don't know what I will be doing for the rest of the month, because I have a few plans, and I will need to. It's gonna be depending on different factors. So yeah. If you liked what you just saw, please subscribe to my either YouTube channel or Twitch channel. It would be lovely and it would support me. I don't really care for YouTube, but it's always nice to have those numbers go up. Outside of that, I really appreciate everyone coming to watch the stream. It's always lovely. Streams are on Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. CEST. I don't have a YouTube. You need to put the socials link. Rip me. Sorry, Lucifer. But yeah. Outside of that, thank you all so much again. And I will see you all on either Thursday, Friday, 9 a.m. CEST for summer schedule, or 9 p.m. CEST when it's on the normal schedule. I will see you all next time. Bye bye. But first, let's find someone to raid. Sporadic is up. Let's go raid Sporadic. Alright, Sporadic is streaming some Overwatch. Say hi to them. Be nice, and I will see you all next time.